Should we try again? Those of you that can lip read, thank you very much for joining us. A huge big shout to Roland Millward as well, who has definitely joined us. And can you tell this is the first time on this particular regular broadcast on the HAPS app I've chosen to use this external microphone. Oh, you can't see it there, can you? Hold on, can you see that there? Yeah. So I forgot to switch over to the external mic. And should we stop and start again? We went live at 11 minutes past 11 p.m. is what I was saying, local time in London on the 19th of January 2021. It's a Tuesday as I say this all live. Oh, brilliant. How long were we live for? Well, about a minute and a half, 90 seconds of silence and me just talking and hearing a thing. Yes, so I'm glad you can hear a thing now. Thanks, Roland. It is much, but it can't be worse. It's shameful. Honestly, right to the wire, I was setting this broadcast up, and yeah, it was a last minute thing to introduce the microphone that is an external microphone, because as a lot of people are finding out, on the new HAPS app, where you can find more information at haps.tv on any browser, or indeed you can head over to your iOS or Android store for the app. So a lot of people are noticing that when we broadcast, particularly on the desktop version, which I'm doing right now, and it's the most stable at the moment too, in beta mode. So your computer, particularly if it's a laptop, starts fanning a lot. There's a lot of CPU usage. So therefore, thanks, Roland. Wonderful mime, says Roland. Yeah, the wonder of mime, yeah, or both, I suppose. And it was, if I say so myself, I think it was a wonderful mime. But anyhow, thank you very much for the award as well, which I'll come back to in just a moment. So yeah, so the app is very CPU hungry for techie people. You'll understand me, of course. I've even noticed, not only this, I've even noticed that the window here, you can tell the window's open with the curtain there and not quite pulled across. Oh, I love it. It's been a long day, but I've only started getting to some serious work in the last half hour to do with this, and back to the old live streaming. And there we go. Now, what is this, a phone call? Oh, yes, of course. There we are. It's all going well, isn't it? Oh, Roland, I couldn't write this stuff. I usually do mute all my devices as well, but no, not on this particular occasion. Right, getting back to the award. Thank you so much, Roland, for that. It is a very, very appreciated little something in the way of support that you can give people like me who are broadcasting on haps.tv. Right, so if once you're actually a member there, you can indeed support us in that way, because in truth, when we're out and about mobile, we have to somehow find a mobile signal, yeah, 3G, 4G or a wireless signal. That often costs us for our network connection, if nothing else, to bring you the sights and sounds, whatever it is you happen to be interested in, or that we bring you as broadcasters. And there's a lot more involved here, certainly from this as I was going to say, Roland, oh, you're making me laugh now, and when I remember what's just happened with my mime. But yes, this professional live streamer, that's me, Martin Shine. More about that as time goes on. I haven't been showing you much over the last few days and handful of weeks, simply because I haven't been out and about much, particularly because we have a lockdown due to the pandemic still ongoing as we start this new year. But yeah, things much more interesting will be happening in the not too distant future as I do head out and about and use the technology to its to its best and to our advantage. The joy of live, yeah, absolutely, and live. But yes, it is. And if I can do this and get away with it, then plenty of people out there who I keep advising can also tell everyone about themselves. Everyone's got a story to tell, whether it's a brand or their small business, whether it's a startup or it's been around for some time. And of course, the artists and the people creating things like jewellery as well, all that pretty good to just get out there direct to a potential audience, and rather than, well, just having to go via other methods, shall we say. Yeah, connect directly with your audience. People want that. Anyway, where are you, Roland? Let me have a look briefly. Roland, by the way, who's watching live right now, is, drum roll. Oh, hang on, what's happened here? Oh, hang on a second. That's interesting. just trying to find out a bit more about your profile. But again, they've actually changed something slightly here, so it works a little different. It's a pop-up now when we click on your name. I've seen your profile on here before, Roland, very, very, very briefly, certainly in Wiltshire. That struck me a little while ago, yes. So there we have it. All the way from London to Wiltshire and possibly infinity, but certainly beyond. Whoever said something similar was certainly correct when it comes to live streaming. Roland loves the live streaming, well, when it comes to the places that he visits and he shares history. I think I've seen one of your broadcasts, possibly at a canal, and heading over the bridge of the canal, or walking across, and I seem to recall there was a building in the distance that you ended up walking over to. I'm not sure if it had anything to do with local railways. I think that might be one of your videos, possibly on a YouTube channel. If I scrolled it, see now Roland's thinking he's got a stalker. But let's have a look here. Is it yourself? Can't remember. But there's a couple of people that I've been checking out recently, getting them all confused. One I remember, who's been on live streaming for a long time now, is the one and only Bobby Bicker, which everyone here at the moment seems to know if they're a live broadcaster, simply because everyone's been connecting, networking, and Bobby's just great on here. And she was the first one on the HAPS app to reach 1 million views. Oh, and let me just finish what I was saying earlier on regarding the HAPS app. The great thing that makes it different about other live streaming platforms is that when you live stream to HAPS, they will also simultaneously ensure that your broadcast is on your favorite other social media website, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope while it's still alive for a few more weeks as I say this, and YouTube, etc., even your own website. And it's really good stuff. And the great thing about HAPS overall, I think, is the fact that it does have a timeline, blogging style, so you don't just post videos once it's out of its beta stage, but if not sooner, users will have the opportunity to effectively post on a timeline, a bit like you do on the Facebook website or app, and like any blog really. So anything that's on your mind, if you're walking past somewhere, you take a photo, a still photo or a video, you can post it. Also embedded videos, and yeah, they've got my thumbs up. I've been a bit frustrated recently though, because there are some little glitches which have been acknowledged by the developers and the people behind the business. They can't just click their fingers and ensure that they're rectified these little problems, but I have to say there's a couple of them that I'm very surprised. They were almost like when you're going to design a new car, you ensure that it has at least 3 wheels, if not ideally 4, and it seems like they haven't been thought about ideally. Where are we going? Back to the chat now. Let's have a look what's going on. I've got to acknowledge this. Natural broadcasts are better than those too polished. Yeah, I know what you're saying there, absolutely. Because again, certainly people that haven't got a grasp of live streaming yet, Roland, and anyone else such as you watching there on the replay, whoever you are, don't forget to follow if you're only watching on the replay. You will wish you had done so much sooner if you don't, if you follow me. But anyway, yes, I think what the problem is, a big problem, is a lot of people out there, again, if you have your own brand or something you want to promote, maybe you're a charity, maybe you're an event organizer and trying to get things underway now as summer 2021 speeds towards us, and COVID-19 is a little more under control wherever you happen to be. And so if you're going to have an event, again, you want to promote it, well, you don't have to be a top orator, television presenter, voiceover artist, radio presenter. Do it yourself. Why? Because you will make mistakes, but we all make mistakes. We're only human. And the only reason you think other people don't make mistakes, or that picture is perfect, is because it's been edited, it's been photoshopped. So the sooner we can acknowledge that and not even try and hoodwink ourselves to suggest otherwise, the rest is a little more plain sailing. Just down the M4, says Roland. I think that's regarding your location. Oh yeah, absolutely, Wiltshire. Yes, I'm very familiar that Wiltshire is heading directly west from London and where I currently am at the moment. Aqueduct and Avon Cliff is what you've been focusing on when it comes to your broadcasts. Is that possibly the one I was referring to? I think it might be. At the moment, HAPS is poor on live streams with movement. Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. And the mobile version isn't too stable at the moment either. They do tell you on this platform you can have up to, I think it's about 6, if not 8 guests I could have on this broadcast, for example. But, and I invite the people is what you do if you want to do that. But if you're using a desktop, great, it works. But on the mobile version, although it appears to allow you to have more than the broadcaster plus 1 guest, so 2 in total, it really can't cope. So yeah, and hopefully things will become more clear in the way of the instructions and effectively a little user guide. I know they have some videos and tutorials out there at the moment, but again, I think it could be a bit more concise, direct, and yeah, a few more frequently asked questions answered. Yes, the one you watched was Avon Cliff from Bradford on Avon along the... Oh, so it was yourself. There you go. And if I remember rightly, the video also had some, with respect, some simple titles at the beginning, at the end as well. So it was you. Pleasure to meet you and make your acquaintance. Lovely, lovely. Do please follow, because I'm going to be exposing other such delights over this side of the planet in due course, certainly as summer fast approaches as well, 2021. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting, because for the simple reason it's not going to be about me. While a lot of people say over the months and weeks where I've been sporadically broadcasting, particularly on Periscope on and off, that they're interested in what I have to say and discuss, and they'd like a bit of a chat, people do, it's all going to be more so about the people that I speak with, because everyone has a story to tell. Did you receive a notification, Roland, and hence that's why you're joining me, because you received a notification to say that I went live when I did? Or did you just happen to stumble across me? Because again, at the moment, discovery is a really difficult thing on the HAPS app. If you're not following someone, then I believe you certainly won't receive a notification that the person's gone live. But there's no real way of looking out there to see what's happening right now or recently. You can look at, I say that, of course, you can discover people on the, what's the section called on the app? It's called, or Discover, there you go. But the problem there with Discover is that, well, I think they need the map sooner rather than later. And I say it like that because I know the map functionality is going to be here very soon on HAPS. So just like on particularly Periscope, the live streaming app, they had a map where you can go to it, a globe, and if you're interested in all things Japan, you can sort of zoom in on the country and you'll see a dot on there in red if someone's live right now. If they're not live but there was a video previously, it will be blue and you can watch the replay. So much better. And the great thing about that is there are people like myself who, when, for example, the tragedy happened in Las Vegas, always springs to mind that one, some months back, when there was an active shooter, someone decided to take a weapon out there, and it was a festival taking place, a music festival, just to the side of the famous Las Vegas Strip where all the casinos and hotels are. So immediately I heard reports of that coming in on regular news networks. I did what a lot of their researchers and producers do anyway, say at the BBC, at CNN, at ABC News in Washington, DC, etc., etc. I just switched to social media to see the immediate reports coming in from what we would call in the business citizen journalism. And sure enough, there was at least one broadcast live from Las Vegas, and visually the news hit me much faster than switching to my regular news networks. And the one reason for that is, of course, in the UK particularly, we have broadcasters such as Sky News, BBC News, etc., etc., and they need to verify that what they're seeing is actually correct, not a hoax, for example. Unfortunately, in that occasion, it wasn't a hoax, and that's when they'll rebroadcast it verbatim, if not rewritten, and have their reporters on scene and then tell you exactly what's happening themselves in their own way. But of course, if you're sensible and you know, like I did, I went onto Periscope, I saw the live broadcast. It didn't take more than a few seconds to realise it was a real serious incident, and not a hoax. But again, you just need to be aware in the few seconds that what you're watching could turn out, depending on what the story is and the severity, that it could be just nothing. You know. Hello from Dallas. Now Dallas. Why is my heart in Dallas? I'll come back to that comment in just a moment. I saw the notification, said Roland. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that feedback, because I wasn't too sure. The thing is as well, I think the problem here is if you broadcast directly to Periscope, then anyone following you on Periscope will receive a notification. If you broadcast on another platform, they will also receive a direct notification. You're directly broadcasting on Facebook Live, I think people following your page, for example, will receive a notification to say you've gone live. However, if you're broadcasting on HAPS, obviously that means you're live on HAPS, and you're broadcasting to other connected platforms such as YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope. I think the problem is that your followers on HAPS, because you're going live on HAPS, are going to receive a notification, but everyone else connected, I don't think they do. Now, I might be wrong there. I stand to be corrected. Off to bed now. So lovely to meet you, Roland. Thanks very much for your time here. Stay safe, stay well. Again, thank you very much for the support. And while I'm on that, I'm going to move on to the support and say, everyone, that obviously on the HAPS app, I think, did I mention before, just to repeat, in case it was when I didn't have my microphone switched on, really can't remember. Well, there's a lot to talk about now. Roland certainly got me motivated there, along did Heavenly Do as well. Come back to you in a second, Heavenly Do. Hopefully you're still there. And that's another thing which I'm going to announce on this broadcast and repeat it until I've had the conversation and the opportunity to do so with the developers of the HAPS app. What I was saying as well, though, I think, was that, yeah, you need to follow on HAPS, and then definitely you'll receive the notification, as I was saying. And there was another important point. Yes. Now, it's taken me a moment to actually get to a point where I can respond to a comment by a top commentator or commenter, Heavenly Do. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for the support. Share, like, and follow. Please follow. You'll be very pleased that you have, particularly when we go out and about, as I was saying earlier. But yes, Dallas, I'll come back to the fact that Dallas has said hello in just a moment. I'm pretty sure that's where you are. Is that what you said? Yeah, you did. Right. So first things first. It sometimes takes us broadcasters, particularly if there's multiple people on here, and if it was a very busy broadcast, it takes us a while to actually respond to an individual. However, Heavenly Do said hello effectively about a good 2 minutes ago, getting on for now. And some people have been impatient. Understandably, they're just busy, like us all, living lives. And if you don't know that someone is going to respond and they don't respond, you're never going to get an immediate response, because there's always at least a 11-second, if not further, delay by the time you send a comment and type it, send it, and then I receive it, read it, and respond, and the response reaches you audibly and visually. So I was thinking one of the great ideas would be, where I see your name there, Heavenly Do, is it would be brilliant if next to your name there was a little dot, which is green or possibly red, depending on whether you're in the broadcast or not. But obviously you're going to be in the broadcast to start with when you send your comment, so that it would be green, the dot. But then if after 22 seconds you choose to leave the broadcast, you're being impatient with respect, or just generally you got a phone call or something else to do suddenly, then I would say to myself as a broadcaster, oh, absolutely, you've just said, while I'm saying this, that patience is definitely a virtue. Yeah, you need some patience for sure, never expectations either. But anyhow, agree with me or disagree on this comment, please do. This is always why it's great live video. And I hasten to add, you can also leave comments on the replay if you're watching the replay, and I pick them up. I can see what's going on the replay comments, and I can even reply to them, which is great. You can't do that on Periscope, which is why one big letdown for that app. Anyhow, so Heavenly Do, what would be great is that little green dot that tells me you're live because you've just sent a comment. If you leave the website for any reason, it would be great if it turned red, or another colour if you prefer. Why? Because then if I've had 5 comments come in pretty much at the same time, I would say to myself, well, Heavenly Do's not in the broadcast at the moment, so I don't need to urgently respond to you so much as, say, somebody else who is still in the broadcast. So I can respond to them and prioritise them, even though their comment came in just after yours initially. And then, so long as before the end of the broadcast I comment on your post, if indeed it's necessary, appropriate, or answer a question more to the point, then it's job done. And I think that's a very much better way of us working and prioritising, as producers do in other situations and live broadcasts, particularly on TV. And of course, here we're not just, we are the producer, broadcaster, creator, etc., etc. What do you think there, Heavenly Do? See, now I've got to think to myself: are you still listening, or are you bored with what I was saying already? Which I understand. Some people do become that, but yeah, do tell. And of course, what I've got to do now is click on your comments and see a bit more about your profile. And of course, I've got to mention Dallas as well, because if I press that magic button there, it tells me that indeed you are in Dallas. Wowzers! Which of course is on the Central Standard Time Zone right now, I think you are, which means if I'm right, that's where my money is. I've had to place a bet now. I'll be betting $10, maybe 11 US, that Dallas is actually 6 hours behind the UK time and GMT as we're in right now, because sometimes we're in BST if it's 6 months either side of Midsummer's Day. And so, yeah, that means right now it's 5:33 as I say this, I think, in Dallas, United States of America. You're going to tell me that, I hope. Let's see. Heavenly Do says, got a drum roll here as I look here. Oh, thank you so much for another award. Well, I think this might be a record in this amount of time. 2 awards on HAPS. Thank you so much. I really appreciated that. And actually, well, we're gonna. What award did I have? That's the High Five Award. Excellent. At 5:33, I think that's what I said, didn't I? Bingo! Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Haven't played that in years. Right, absolutely. Again, now, let's have a look at your profile there. Are you a broadcaster yourself, Heavenly Do? It seems like you might well be with all those subscribers and followers. I can see got a question for you. How long have you been a member of HAPS? It's going to be really, it's going to be a perfect opportunity. I'm going to pick your brains now, or at least delve into your experience so far with the HAPS app. Very briefly, I'll say that. It could be longer, but in case you haven't got a lot of time yourself, I've just got a couple of questions, but one in particular. I want to know how long you've been a member of HAPS, Heavenly Do, for the simple reason that anyone joining right now who isn't sort of, loaded up with followers right now, if you haven't sort of like thousands of followers, a good handful of thousands, you haven't got full access to all the functionality. 33rd day, I want to know, please, when you joined HAPS 33 days ago, which was actually technically a year ago, so but you get my point there. If it was a year ago, then I would be concerned, depending on what your answer is. But when you joined, did you have immediate access to all the functionality in terms of posting on your account and your profile timeline? So obviously everyone can do what I'm doing right now, which is broadcast live, but I can see on your profile that you can post still images. It looks like you can just, let's have a look here, type up something if you want to without an image and just have some text on there. And I think I'll assume correctly that you can also embed videos, I think, as well. I know you should be able to do it, and that functionality is inbuilt on the website, but a lot of us can't do it at the moment. So the answer to your question I'd like is, as I say, if you were able, no, they release them after certain activity. Yeah, what, like the awards that you receive for logging into your account, like 10 days in a row and things like that, or every day. And I see how many, so that you know the follow-up question, which is how many days after approximately have you only just had access, like closer to the 33 number of days rather than sort of like at the very beginning? I guess it depends how active you are and stuff every day, but that's interesting to note that, because that's a bit like when you first start broadcasting, you don't have at the top of the broadcast, where are we? I'm just looking at the camera now. Is it up a bit, up a bit, up a bit, up a bit, right up a bit there? But there's a bit of I just realised something, what I've got to do. Right, so here, somewhere, there we are, at the top of the screen. It's the angle of my camera, and I haven't done this yet. But up there, you can see, anyway, that it tells you certainly somewhere after the HAPS logo, the percentage of the goal that has been reached. And it doesn't say that on your first broadcast. I mean, there's no need to. The stats are pretty much on 0. So automatically I was told that would happen, and sure enough, it did kick in for me on this account automatically. So yeah, I'm glad that I asked you that question. Saves me bothering those who are working behind the scenes very, 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 very hard to ensure that the HAPS bugs and functionality is better and the bugs are quashed. Unsure, but I think the short answer is going live. Well, the regularity, you mean? So if you go live regularly, well, I've been going regularly pretty well now. How many days have I been going regular for? I'll have to double check that. Anyway, as I said at the beginning of you popping up here, Dallas is definitely a city at the top of my list to visit. Could even be this year, because it's always been at the top of my list of about sort of, well, certainly between, say, 5 and 10th favourite city on my wish list. Visited plenty of times Los Angeles, very lucky to do so. You might say, what do you mean lucky? It's a dump. Parts of it are, like parts of all nations. But you've got Los Angeles, been there, got to count them now. DC, been there a handful of times. Quite a few times to New York ski. And goodness, I'm going to lose my plot now. Long time ago, Florida, but that was, it's a Mickey Mouse state. It's not so real there, depending on where you visit. So I did, my first visit to the USA was to the theme parks in Florida, specifically Disney, of course, as well as Universal. Wow, when I was there, it was just opening up. It was Universal. Where else? Seattle, more recently, and Chicago, amazing city. Got to get back there. So, and when I was traveling for the first time I went to a good few times in Las Vegas as well. But on my way, I think it was when I was heading from the East Coast to the West Coast, it was from Washington, DC, either to Las Vegas or to Los Angeles. I think it was to Las Vegas. And it wasn't a direct flight. So we stopped off in Houston, Texas, Mission Control. Didn't manage to exit, wasn't able to exit the airport because it was an indirect flight and we were in transit there. But if you looked out the window of the departure lounge when I was waiting for the second plane, you could see the skyline of Houston, Texas. It just looked it was so amazing because it was like desert in between from memory. And then, it was just barren land for some distance. But right in the distance, even further, were all the skyscrapers of Houston, depends where you are. I think it's Houston in New York City. There's a little area called, yeah. But anyhow, definitely got to get to Dallas, because for years, before I even made that visit and was reminded of the state of Texas and how Houston, how it is, I've always wanted to go to Dallas, like a lot of people have, and for the reason of the TV show. Yeah. And Dallas is a great city anyway, as I've been reading up as the internet's evolved. And yeah, you just got to do it. You agree there. So, I honestly, that was years ago, and I've just got this little snapshot in my mind, looking out. It's almost like a glass house, greenhouse. It was the departure lounge, all that glass over on the wall of glass, looking out there. And yeah, I just remember seeing the buildings in the distance. Absolutely amazing. And I was very disappointed that I couldn't somehow make a trip out there and spend the night there in the city. But you've just reminded me there, certainly. But of course, Dallas, as I say, not too far away when you speak of distances between US cities anyway. So it's certainly something to do sooner rather than later. It would be interesting in knowing what you'd like to see. If I can broadcast it, I will. Oh, that's really decent. Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. The truth is, I don't know definitely South Fork. Hey, South Fork. I know it doesn't exist specifically called South Fork, but you get up the ranch there, get up the driveway, and yeah, that's definitely where I'll be heading to. Don't know how close you can actually be to the ranch. They must have had thousands, millions of visitors over the years. A bit like, not quite the same, but a bit like they do at Gracelands there. Because of Elvis Presley and the family. So where are we now? What have I got? Another comment here, or is it another notification of some description? Matthew Vick has reacted. Oh, are you still watching there, Matthew? Didn't make it clear that you are, only that you, yes, let's see, maybe you're just watching. I know a lot of people just like to watch and listen. That's great. And a lot of people just like to listen, whether it's because you're visually impaired or you're just busy. So you like to have this sort of thing on in the background rather than regular traditional radio or television or another podcast, which is great, but do have your say. Maybe you've got questions to ask me, for example. It could be anything. But yes, it does. South Fork is it's a real ranch, but it's not called South Fork, is it? I thought that's the point I was making. There's a lot of buildings and say towns that feature in regularly in a series. The BBC have one, for example, called Emmerdale, one of the regular soaps, which I very rarely watch actually. And it used to be called Emmerdale Farm. Then years ago they dropped the farm name. I think like the last two generations wouldn't even remember it as Emmerdale Farm. But certainly they had that, and they have that still. But the village in and around where, and the areas in and around where it's all filmed, again, they have, it's not the pub, the bar isn't necessarily called in real life what it is called in the programme. Wedding venues, Dallas. Events venues near Dallas. And now I'm confused. South. Oh, right. Sorry, I didn't see the URL initially. This is. I'm going to have to look at this after the broadcast, I think. Dumfries and Galloway, did you not mean? Is that what you meant? Or am I just trying to be clever there and it not working? Melanie Fay. Hello to you. Hello, Melanie. Thank you for joining me. It's a little darker there in Scotland at the moment compared to where I am in the southeast of the United Kingdom. Although technically, we can also say, Melanie and I, we're in Great Britain as well as the United Kingdom. And here's one for you, actually, Heavenly Do. Do you know the difference? Come on, let's see. Heavenly Do you know the difference? And I'll just one answer, please. The difference between the UK and Great Britain, United Kingdom and Great Britain. Do you know the difference? Heavenly Do. For that matter, maybe Melanie, you can answer as well. Why not? Let's be fair here. Anyone watching now, please, can you tell me the difference? It's one that I'll ask time and time again on these broadcasts from time to time, not all the time. You did mean that, by the way. Oh, good. Dumfries, yes, because do you know what? Now I'm going to sound silly because I know it's generally referred to as Dumfries and Galloway, which is why I thought that's what you meant. But isn't that, when I say it's the region, is that the county? I believe that's the county, Dumfries and Galloway, but it's sort of going up towards the Highlands, isn't it, of Scotland? I love Scotland. I haven't even touched on the country other than Edinburgh. Not been anywhere else. No, Edinburgh, and that was for what we have, the Fringe Festival every year. If you're visiting the UK and you're heading to Scotland or want to do so, hopefully COVID will pass before their next event in August. We have a public holiday here, and at the last weekend in August, that's the best time to head over to the festival. I do hope it takes place as full on as it possibly can, and it's a brilliant time. Street performers, that's what I like there, definitely in the daytime, as well as various side shows in and around local venues, plenty of drinking holes and restaurants, of course. But I visited there a couple of times for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I've definitely got to return there. It's a great time because the final weekend in August also coincides with the final, it's called the Edinburgh Tattoo, which is as a part of the festival. It's I was going to say a performance, that's not the right word. It's a display put on by the services up there, the soldiers and horseback and all that sort of stuff. But you have a firework display on the final night. And the great thing is, I didn't tell you this, you don't need an expensive ticket to attend, because if you just step away, and just so Melanie knows, I think you'll be on the same page when I say you don't have to stand next to Edinburgh Castle where it all happens from. In fact, if you stand there, you're getting the worst view probably. You want to step over to, if not Waverley Station, the other side of the train track. I'm just trying to remember the name of the main shopping street now in Edinburgh without looking it up. Princes Street, I think it is. My money's on Princes Street. Melanie's going to give me. I want an award for this one, please. Come on now. Did I say that? That's rude, isn't it? Maybe not. But yes, I think it's Princes Street, and you stand there, watch the fireworks, looking down at there's some concert events as well in the public gardens. They might be called the Royal Gardens as well, that line Princes Street. Right, let's get back to the comments. Where are we? Oh, hang on. You're from Leicester. Right, I see you're from Leicester, but let me read them in chronological order. Right, you're in Dumfries at the moment. You're from Leicester. What's south? Oh, Dumfries and Galloway is southwest. Oh, so you're close to Glasgow then in that case. Be aware it's not a holiday in Scotland. Really? That's a good point. So what we call August bank holiday, August public holiday for anyone else watching internationally, public holiday, bank holiday, same thing. So you don't have that as a holiday at the end of August in Scotland. I actually wasn't aware. I never thought about that. You know, I just go by my English diary calendar, and to me it is. Enjoy our chat. Heading to the Q&A. Okay. Oh, I see. There's a Q. I see. I think what Heavenly Do meant, and I don't expect an answer because she's probably gone already. I think she means there is a Q&A happening right now by HAPS, and they're going live, and therefore that's a good heads up, a good excuse for me to get out of here actually, because I do need to go and do some work. But I will also listen to any Q&A, particularly by Pablo and Peter, great guys who are key guys behind the team and group of people that bring you HAPS. Yes, it is, says Melanie. Oh, you are near Glasgow, right? No, I'm not close to Carlisle. I'm okay. No, so I've got it. Eddie Stobar territory. Yes, I see. So does that mean that you're more south than Glasgow? I'm going to have to cheat and look later on now. Listen, do follow me. Pleasure to have you on board. And as I say, I'm going to head off now. Check out if there's an important broadcast I should be listening to get some inside information about HAPS and its development. And yeah, as I say, do follow because and share like this out because good things are going to be happening very soon. And hopefully I'll make sure, as I was saying earlier on, that this is a bit more, yes, like that. Not that it's a problem on these sort of impromptu broadcasts anyway. Yes, near Gretna Green. Oh, and yes, and all I know about Gretna Green, for some reason it is known for people not quite eloping to get married, but certainly couples do head over to Gretna Green to tie the knot in the way of receiving a certificate to confirm that they are significant others stroke partners till death do they depart. Yes, that's it. Right. So the final thing is I just better remind people that the difference, because no one gave me the answer or even attempted it, I don't think. Please forgive me if you did, but definitely the difference between the UK and Great Britain is Northern Ireland. We have England, Scotland and Wales, and we have Northern Ireland. Together they are the United Kingdom, which is why it's referred to as the United Kingdom of Great Britain. That's England, Scotland and Wales, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland on our passports. There you are. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Melanie. Nice to meet you too. Please follow. I'm out of here. Whoever you are, if your name's not Melanie, and definitely if your name is not someone who's in Dallas as well, such as, goodness me, it was Heavenly Do. That's right. Along with someone that joined us right at the top of the broadcast, and that'll teach me not to lose my spot here. The comments are gone now from Roland. Never mind, it was Roland up there. He joined me as well live, and hopefully you will do next time if you're only watching on the replay. Share, like and follow, and we will definitely be meeting here sooner rather than later, possibly in the next 24 hours, yeah, or thereabouts, if not before, something like that. Thanks everyone, stay safe, look after yourselves at these crazy times and the challenging times, and as always, the best place to follow me other than HAPS is on Twitter, @MartinShine. Thanks for now, speak soon, bye bye for now.